to discuss with you now plans to that end.
For the Honourable Tau Henry.
Mr. Speaker, can I start by saying welcome? And secondly, can I mention three names that have not been mentioned in this House so far today. One is Arthur Anai, a Member of Parliament of Samoan descent and a member of the National Party for some time, who served in this House, Mr. Speaker. Taito Philip Field, who unfortunately went off the rails, but he was another Samoan of Samoan descent, and in fact made a pretty big contribution while he was here, Mr. Speaker, and in fact came in with me 20 years ago this year, Mr. Speaker. The other one is my brother-in-law, Tukoroirangi Morgan, who half of him is from the Cook Islands, Mr. Speaker. We think of him as only being the Māori MP, the Western Māori MP, the Te Hauhaudu MP, the King's spokesperson. But his other half, his father, was from the Cooks, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I was born and bred in Otara, in O-Town, 274. Let me tell you the names of some of the families that I grew up with, and I am very proud to have been able to go into each of these homes and be looked after by the mothers and fathers of my friends. The Kaleta family, rest in peace my brother, Kaleta, who died some years ago. The Jackson whānau, the Iosefa whānau, the Tafa family. The Tafa family whose father played a game of cricket with us in Otara. He was a stand-in, he was a ring-in. He smashed Howick, Pakuranga, all over the field. And I still remember the cries of despair from the other team. The Tuai family, the Papali'i family, the Tofilo family, and the Collins family. Mr. Speaker, those were all people I grew up with, and I consider myself to be a true Pacific Islander. This is a Pacific Island nation. We just haven't thought about it yet. So I'm hopeful that one day in my lifetime we will all call ourselves Pacific Islanders, just not in the way that we think of our brothers and sisters in the Pacific Islands. Mr. Speaker, Māori made the long journey to these shores over 1,000 years ago. Why they left is beyond me. Who would want to leave an idyllic neighbourhood such as the Pacific to come down here to the South Pacific? Maybe it was overcrowding, maybe it was for the adventure of a lifetime, maybe it was the real Kiwi attitude of wanting to know what was on the other side of the fence, Mr. Speaker. Auckland has the biggest concentration of Pacific Island people in the world, and it's one of the things that we should keep in the back of our minds every day, Mr. Speaker. It's time New Zealand realised that its true place in the Pacific, and that is, as I said, a Pacific Island nation. Mr. Speaker, we need to assist our brothers and sisters in the Pacific to be part of the international organisations such as the IPU and the CPA. Sir, I've come to despair over the last couple of years that our Pacific Island brothers and sisters cannot even afford to be members of these international organisations. Mr. Speaker, I want to float some ideas in the last minute or so. Maybe, sir, the Pacific Island people can piggyback on some of our trade agreements, our free trade agreements. Maybe it's time for a Pacific Parliament, a la the Right Honourable Mike Moore's suggestion 20-odd years ago. Mr. Speaker, we have common borders, we have citizenship, we have issues like citizenship. There are three issues, sir, that I get in my office every week immigration, residency and citizenship, mainly from the Pacific Islands. It is about time we started treating the Pacific Islands like our back lawn with our whānau in the and offer them more than just a few immigration schemes, Mr. Speaker.
For the Honourable Mary Ann Street.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.